Red 5, standing by.
Red Leader, standing by.
Red October, standing by.
Red Fox, standing by.
I had to grab a beer and some string cheese.
Oh, man, I want some beer.
John, you're like my brother.
Want to ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. I'm a loner, Daddy. Rebel.
I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends interrupt me from doing a proper opening and instead force me to watch movies. This week, we have with us Eric Largent.
Tally ho.
We have Colin McMillan.
Well, hey, how you doing?
We have Chris Arsenault.
I can't remember the line I wanted to do.
We have James Barrup.
Talk about your prime. What about my prime? Huh? Where were you 10 years ago?
I was
That was directly to your brother right there.
That's really relevant.
Yes.
I know.
Well, for those of you who are listening at home, we are actually reviewing Rocky. Yeah, it's a great film. It's a big treat for me, personally.
It's a great film. See you next week.
It's fantastic! The synopsis of Rocky is Sylvester Stallone shot to fame as Rocky Balboa, an unknown fighter who's given a shot at fighting world champ Apollo Creed as a publicity stunt. It's starring Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Burt Young, and really, they don't put Burgess Meredith on there.
Yeah, I was going to
They
say
don't put Burgess Meredith
Or
or
Carl
fucking
Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
Holy
Really?
crap, I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that, yeah.
Huh.
Carl Weathers.
Pauly gets a listing, but...
Not Carl F. Weathers.
Yeah.
No
He's
kidding.
in 3 of the freaking 6 movies.
He's in 4.
He's in all. Yeah, he's in the first 4.
He's in 4 of
He
them.
dies
Right,
in
he
Rocky
dies in
4.
the beginning of 4. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Oh, spoilers!
Pauly's in all of them.
Well,
And
for some
Convoy.
reason in my head, I thought Crusher
Oh,
Lane
yeah.
killed him, but no.
No,
Well,
it's
you
not
know-
Clubber.
Clever.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was also directed by John G. Alvidson. This is the second film that we've reviewed by this gentleman.
What was the first one?
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid.
Really?
Oh,
yeah, that's
that's right. Because that's why he picked "You're the Best Around" for Karate Kid, because it got rejected for Rocky.
That's right.
I'm ready to go, and
All
Chris
right,
is
Eric.
okay with me going.
Lay it down.
All right, so there's been a lot of talk in the last few episodes about somebody that's very close to my heart. That's my father.
Oh, wait. This is the first episode of Season 2.
So
Technically.
I went out for dinner with my dad last night, and I always watch the movie the night before we record this, before we record the episode, so it's super fresh in my mind. So I went out for dinner with my dad after work, and I knew that later that night I was going to be watching Rocky. So I was like, hey, Dad, tonight, so I said to my dad, I'm like, hey, so I've got this like movie watching club with a bunch of friends, and we all watch the same movie, and then we get together and talk about it later in the week. And I was like, so this week I have to watch Rocky. What do you remember about Rocky? Do you know anything? You know, what are your memories of Rocky? So these are my dad's notes on Rocky.
Oh, what a treat.
This should be good.
What a treat.
So the first one of my dad's notes is, remember Rocky's girlfriend Allison? That was funny.
Yo, Allison!
I just want to say, hey, yo, Allison, it's me, Rocky.
I didn't even bother correcting him because who cares? It was fucking funny. The next one was, Yeah, and he tried to do the Rocky voice. He was like, yeah, and you remember selling me those turtles, Cuff and Link? Like, that was his
But at
next
least
note.
you remember Cuff and Link, not one of the main characters.
Seriously, he remembered the turtles' names. And Adrian.
That's wow.
That's awesome.
His next note is just like, oh yeah, remember these? We were having a conversation. These aren't like notes. I didn't tell him what to say or anything. But he was like, remember that part where Rocky's in the meat house and he's punching the meat? That would have been way funnier if they had him actually punching out living cows.
Because, well, you all know that Rocky was actually a comedy.
Yeah, did you not think this was a comedy?
Yeah.
Action comedy done right.
There you go.
I'm serious. He said that, and now this last one is kind of puzzling to me because it has nothing to do with Rocky. But he said, yeah, and that thing about Rocky is back then that came out in like the late 70s. That was back when you had to go to a movie theater to watch a movie. And it was really cool how, like, in the movie theater, when you're walking up and down the aisle, it's like you're showing off to everybody. So you could, like, flex and, like, strut your stuff and show off. So, I don't know, apparently, like, the aisle at the movie theater was like the runway. Or the catwalk at a
Was for your
fashion
dad.
show.
That is spectacular. Spectacular.
So those are my dad's thoughts about Rocky, but I've got a few of my own here.
Fabulous.
And I was born out of time.
Man.
Yeah.
So it was like cruising.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It was like cruising the strip, but you're in the movie theater.
That could have very well been a thing. I don't know. I don't know
Oh, I
anybody
so
who.
hope so.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was just a thing in northern Michigan, because that's where my dad's from.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Right.
Yeah, you know that part of the movie where you throw beer bottles at other people's heads and you laugh?
Yeah, good times.
That's
then
what
you
I
eat your
miss about
pasty.
going to see filmies.
Okay, so anyway, here are my notes. The first one is true story. I once named a D&D character Apollo. Not after the Greek god Apollo, but after Apollo Creed. The whole point of the character was to talk a lot of shit and knock out chumps.
Sounds good.
Okay, so this was during the very first, like brawl that he's in the club.
Right.
So some of these fake punches are worse than the famous one that Jimmy Caan threw in The Godfather. Does anybody remember the like phantom punch in The Godfather? Where
It's like a mile off.
right.
Yeah, way
Some
out.
of those punches, like, okay, obviously these guys aren't hitting each other in
Right.
Rocky, but the ones in that first fight are really bad.
Yeah.
Like, really bad.
Man, I didn't even notice that.
Puerto Rico.
Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a bum.
Yeah, bud, too. Okay. The next one is when Rocky is asking Pauly about Adrian, or Allison, as my dad would call her.
Alice.
And Pauly goes, yeah, you got to take her out soon. Her body's gonna dry up. He
yeah,
says
the shit
line,
Pauly
her
says is
her
fucked
body is
up.
gonna dry up.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Pauly? You're talking about your sister.
Oh, yeah, dude.
He's fucked.
Pauly
I
is,
mean, yeah.
I didn't remember.
Yeah.
I had forgotten how,
Yeah, I
vile
really
Unique
Pauly
individual.
is.
I really didn't remember how much of a scumbag he was in this movie.
he's an
Because like James in the
incredible
next few
scumbag.
movies, he's like a good character.
No,
he's
he's
just
not.
sort of the stooge in the
He's-
later ones. Like,
He's a
he's
curmudgeon
less-
in the later ones.
Yeah,
where in
he's
first,
less
first one he's just straight up
overtly-
vile.
Right, yeah, he's less vile, but yeah, he's kind of a
in the first one,
schmuck.
Pauly's a bad dude, though. Like, he's a bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bad.
And he
person.
kind of he kind of returns to form in Rocky Balboa.
Oh, I
Not
didn't
so
notice that.
crass, but
Right.
he does.
So the next note was so this movie came out in 1976, and there were a ton of references, and apparently it must have been a really big deal, the bicentennial of our country.
Oh,
Our country is 200 years old. I didn't remember any of that from the first time or any of the times I'd watched this movie. I've probably watched this movie 3 or 4
Yeah,
five
that's
times.
probably yeah.
No, when
But
you
the
watch Saturday Night Live from the same year, it's just like peppered throughout. Like,
So apparently everybody was collecting their Susan B. Anthony dollars, and whatever.
Yeah, it suffused all the media of that time.
I
It was
hope to
everywhere.
live long enough to see the tricentennial.
Damn it! I finally remembered the line I was going to use.
I doubt I'm going to.
It was
I would be-
screw you, creepo.
Yeah. Screw you, creepo. Yeah. That was a good one. So my next note is when
Marie.
you're going to be a whore. I don't want to use a bad word, but I'm just going to say it. You're
I was gonna
a whore.
say, it's not. You remember her? Yeah, the little whore that hung out in front of Tamakogi's.
Hung out with all them coconuts.
Man.
Okay,
Anyway.
quick aside. Sylvester Stallone wrote this movie. It's well written. This is a well written movie.
It really is.
It is. It's really good. Like, this movie deserved to win the awards it won. All right, so moving on. It's when Rocky goes to Mick's gym and he finds out his locker's gone. He goes out to talk to Mick about it, and Mick's like, you're not a contender, and Rocky like walks away, and Mick goes, yeah, I said that to you before, you dumb dago.
I think he calls him a Dago Wop.
Yeah. Well,
Really?
Well, I know he calls them both throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he says both right then. Too.
So once again, one of my favorites, some more white on white racism.
That's our word.
Yeah. When Apollo Creed finally picks Rocky and the promoter brings Rocky into his office, Rocky at that point is so beaten down. He thinks at that point he really believes that he's a bum. When the promoter offers Rocky his dream shot, Rocky, his first reaction is to say no.
Right.
yeah.
Because he's so fucking beat down at that point.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Like...
It's good writing. It's good writing, though. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it
very
is.
strong writing.
Yeah. This is from the beginning when Burgess Meredith shows up at Rocky's apartment. Every day, Martin Short is slowly becoming Burgess Meredith. Like, has anybody seen Martin Short recently? He is becoming Burgess Meredith.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I know what you mean.
like watching this movie last night, I was like, oh shit. So in Arrested Development, Martin Short plays like some kind of crazy
Rocket.
Yeah, Rocket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That guy is basically Burgess Meredith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Martin Short's becoming Burgess Meredith slowly. It's two people becoming one. So and then that fight between Rocky and Burgess Meredith at the apartment was a very, very Irish on Italian interaction.
Oh, yeah.
Where the Irish guy sees conflict and walks away and like starts stuffing it deep down inside to where he's never going to address it. He's only just going to die with that rage inside of him.
Right.
And the Italian guy's just shouting and shouting and shouting and shouting and shouting, and then he comes out and like gives him a hug, and then they that's it really struck me the differences in culture
Are
there.
we okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really, but I'm gonna pretend okay.
Yeah.
I'll feel better about this tomorrow, I'm sure.
My next note is training montage.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
I almost wonder whether or not that's what put this movie on the map for a lot of people.
The montage.
The montage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think so.
and I think a lot of people forget. First off, like he has like a first training montage where he like fails to like get up the steps. He's huffing and puffing
Man.
and trying to get up there, and
He just looks
Then he
fucking
has
miserable.
the success montage.
right.
It's all part of the montage.
Which
So,
is
another
fucking
thing-
incredible.
Another thing that a lot of people forget about this movie is my last note. He went the distance. That was his whole goal in the fight, to go the distance. However, he lost the fight in the split decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got to see Rocky 2 to actually watch him win a fight.
Correct.
Well, he
So,
won
yeah.
against Spider Rico.
Yeah, if Spider Rico's a bum.
Correct. Which is why I think that's one of the things I really liked about Rocky Balboa is they brought it back because he loses by decision in Rocky Balboa also.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought that was
Brings it around.
I thought that was a very strong choice in the
You're ruining it for James.
I don't want to. I know you really can't talk about Rocky as an island because Rocky is kind
It's
of
a
like one of the
series.
first real. It's one of the first real universe building, but on a really small scale. And there's a lot about Rocky Balboa to recommend it to. And just God, there's some great throwbacks like.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on. He's got bricks in his gloves or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. In the part in Rocky Balboa, where they're like, look, you're 55 years old. We cannot train you to be fast.
Yep.
So the only thing we can do is train you to have brute power.
Which is funny because in the first movie, in the first one, he says, "I ain't too quick, but I hit really hard," and it's like,
right?
He's always hit like a goddamn truck,
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
they just double down on that. And
He built some real hurting bombs.
He gave Apollo Creed internal bleeding during that fight. Like he
busted his
really
ribs.
fucked him up. Like
Yeah.
that was a pretty heavy metal fight. So anyway,
It was great. It was greatly choreographed.
Honestly,
Yeah.
too, the final fight was way better than I remembered it.
yeah, it's really good.
It's quite good.
So the last thing I want to talk about is every time I watch. So this is probably the 5th time I've watched this movie, but I always forget going into the next time I'm going to watch it that really at the heart of Rocky 1, this movie's a love story.
Yep.
You always forget about that. Like I was going into it thinking that it was going to be a story about Rocky getting his start, and punching his way up through the ranks and finally
it's none of that.
punching Clubber Lang.
I think
it's a love story between him and Adrian.
I think that's
Actually-
probably why it's a little bit more universally accepted. It's not really a sports movie.
I sort
Yeah.
of disagree,
It's
but I'll get to that later.
So I'm done. Who wants to go next?
Well, I kind of want to hear about how Colin disagrees with that because I firmly agree that this is a love story.
Well,
So
no, that's fine. I'm happy to explain it because I don't really have a lot of funny things to say about Rocky. But I just wanted
My
to.
dad. So my dad's bringing more material to this episode than Colin.
More comedic, perhaps.
Oh no, Eric, that joke sucked. Colin could have said it. I'm bringing it back.
I'd like all the listeners to know that in private, each member of the podcast told me last time I did a really good job.
That was our private conversation.
You can
we
never
would
prove
never
it.
admit that.
Oh,
Colin, by the time
in
this-
front of people.
By the time this episode airs, that will be a month ago.
I was
you
the
will be
king
a
of
faded
flight streets
memory.
and automobiles. I was the king, I tell you. Okay, so
Faded into non-existence.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm really glad that John chose this movie. I haven't seen Rocky in many years, and I've only watched it one time before. And
Oh wow.
yeah, previously, prior to that, I've seen all of them now. But prior to that, I'd only ever seen parts of installments in the middle and later Rocky movies. I knew who Ivan Drago was, and I knew that I knew about the characters that die later, and I know of all of them, I knew Rocky IV the best. So the first time I watched Rocky, I noticed immediately that this movie has. Now, this is my initial impression. I noticed that it had 70s movie pacing.
Oh yeah,
But going back
absolutely.
and watching it again this week, I feel like this was one of the early movies that started to transition out of that, because although the first half of the movie does move kind of slowly, I don't think it ever drags. Ever.
No,
not,
I don't
not
think
for
so.
a
It certainly
moment.
doesn't.
There's stretches of quiet time in Rocky where you got characters not saying anything and you're just sort of seeing the setting of the downtrodden people of Philadelphia. But I never get lost in those moments. It's not like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where it's just 5 minutes of an empty set and you're waiting for even a tumbleweed, and they don't even give you that.
Well, it seems like that's a function of Stallone's good writing, because he made Rocky a good character with interesting things to say. And,
Or interesting things to
and
do.
He doesn't even necessarily need to do anything. Like, he can just stop by the pet shop,
Yep.
not buy turtle food, and then walk home, and that's a good scene.
And this is a great example of how he shows and tells in that writing. And the pet shop scene is a perfect example, because he says, "Hey, yo, I come in here every day. I make up a new joke for you. Every day I'm coming in and telling you jokes. You don't give me nothing." You learn everything you need to know about where he and Adrian are at this point. You don't need to introduce the characters, because that would just belabor and inflate an already 2-hour movie. You learn everything you need to know, including that other people think that Rocky's a bum, because you have the boss character that comes in briefly and basically just tells him to get lost.
Hey, so if you give him too many moss, you have to hit him on the back.
Yeah, you
and
cough,
you know what they get when you have to hit him in the back? You get shell
You get
shock.
shell shock, so this is why I say
That's a dad joke.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
know.
so good, though.
But you know what? He makes up his own jokes. Like he makes up
it's
jokes
good.
for the girl at the pet shop. How?
Yeah, that's great.
How great
charming.
is that? It is. It's
Yeah.
incredibly
It is.
endearing. And you need that in the early bits.
This is one of those things. This is, though, one of those times where I feel that we are a little weakened by not having a female cast member, because that's endearing to us, but it might actually kind of suck.
That's creepy.
Okay,
Me and Eric
so
and Chris
female-
are all like, "Oh yeah, that would totally work." Like the guys without girlfriends.
No,
Oh my god, they eat that. Oh yeah,
a
bro.
female cast member, I feel like, would have a whole different view on the Rocky and Adrian in Rocky's apartment.
I was gonna get to that because we can go there now. The scene in the apartment where he invites her and sort of kind of leans on her to come in. She doesn't seem very
kind of
comfortable.
coerces her.
Yeah, kind of coerces
Well,
her. And
it's
then
not like he pushes her in. He
just
coerces
asks.
her, but he
still asking.
keeps
He's
waving
still
his
asking.
hand. He never pushes her though.
He's still asking.
It's still on her.
Yeah,
But then
it's
he kinda
still a
goes-
good. It's a good
I
distinction.
get I get what you're saying. I'm just saying.
He kind of goes
Same. Extra
he
mile,
almost
but,
goes
like-
Sean Connery Bond on Adrian, and that sort of like just push through till she says yes sort of thing. When he's like, you don't gotta kiss me back. I was sort of like, oh, Rock, you're making me uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that part where he blocks her from leaving the door.
Yeah, it's like the
in
Continental.
corner.
It's like
And
it's like
it's
fucking.
Right.
It's
It's
like
like-
That made me really uncomfortable because
Christopher Walken
yeah, it's
and
like Christopher Walken in the Continental.
Now,
Yeah.
Whoa,
Now-
mon chéri.
thank goodness the remainder
She
of
actually
the
liked
scenes, yes,
him.
thank goodness they firmly established from that point forward that yes, Adrian does really like him, and I felt like you had some really great subtle physical interplay between Adrian and Rocky, where Adrian displays all the physical symptoms of interest in him. She gives all the indicators.
Yes.
She gives all the indicators even before it's clear. Like, we don't know if. I don't think that they sleep together after that scene. I don't think so.
No, I don't
well,
think
no,
do,
they
no.
heavily imply that he's abstaining from
That's-
sex so that he can be the best at the.
That's only after Mickey says no
I think
fooling
by
around.
the time he turns her away later,
yeah.
I think they have already slept together by that point.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
I think,
but
Yeah,
not
but-
that night.
but in any case, I think that
It's hard to say.
I think that they did. The movie recovers well from that sort of what I consider sort of a misstep. Like if they made Rocky today and put that scene in there, unacceptable.
You
Oh,
can't
they
have
wouldn't.
that
You
scene.
couldn't have
Unacceptable.
that.
You
scene
couldn't
in
have
there.
that
I
scene.
do believe that Stallone would be smart enough to know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I know he was, because look how he handled the romance, the kind of
he
romance
shut down
in Rocky
both the
Balboa.
romances in Rocky Balboa and John Rambo.
Yeah.
So, talking about the franchise as a whole, one of the things that I think is a little bit bothersome is in the later installments, Adrian becomes this force that's working against Rocky's fighting career.
Yeah,
And
that's not good.
So many people really don't like Adrian, but she's fucking.
She's
She's
lovable.
delightful in the first one. She's amazing, and that actress does such a
Yeah.
fantastic job. And
Yeah.
bravo to Stallone in the 70s for writing her when she goes hard on Pauly. Adrian she knocks it out of the park, and Pauly's he's such filth in this movie, and like
Mm.
it's, I don't know, that scene is amazing. Also,
Yeah,
tagging
Well,
on the
part of
internet
it
site-
is too. She's constantly shy, and she's constantly pulling away and thinking she's beneath, everyone and everything. But then she's with Rock and starts having, a sense of self,
right,
and that gives her enough of a backbone to like stand up like a real Italian
right,
woman.
and she's strong and
Let's face it.
beautiful and fierce and protective and just this fantastic woman.
That's one of the great things about this movie is I think the centralized theme is that you can see Rocky's journey in both not just Rocky but
Correct.
in Adrian.
Correct.
You can see the sense of self-discovery in both
Yeah,
of
and
them.
that first date they go on is so funny because there's
That's a little highbrow.
I think
But
he's
true.
That was
It's-
really
it's
good.
really
John.
there.
It's seriously true.
that's
No,
really good,
it's
John.
seriously
That's
true.
a-
But like, it's
that's
so
a real
highbrow. Like, I'm like, whoa.
No, man. No, I think it's spot on. I agree
That's
completely.
real talk.
And it's there in their first date because like the skating rink is brilliant because of the physicality, because they're waddling around like penguins and they could not look more awkward. This is the first time these two people have been allowed to actually stand up together with nobody else in their face fucking up their shit. And they can literally barely walk.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, she is muscling her way through the crowd to get to her man up in the middle, who's just tied the world champ of boxing. And like that journey is fucking amazing. But this is why I actually believe that this movie at its core is not a love story first.
Oh, okay.
This is a movie that isn't even, it's not a love story, and it's not a sports movie. It's not even really about boxing. This is a movie about people who have been told their whole lives that they are losers.
Yeah.
Well, it's an underdog
It
story.
is the
That's
greatest
straight up
American
what it's
underdog
supposed-
story, in my opinion.
Can I just say
That might actually be one of the
U.S.
mottos.
fucking A. 200 years old.
Yeah.
Booyah.
Wait a minute, I just get it. So Apollo Creed's like the British.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Even with all of his, like, I want you shit, he's still the British.
And I want to tell you, though.
James, you had
But
something?
he won.
Yeah, I just wanted to say farty poop wiener butt.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, for the,
All right.
for the lowbrow.
Back to Colin.
So, that's
We were
what
just getting a
stuck
little
out.
too heady there for a second.
And I think that what the reason that
this movie deserves it.
I think it does. I mean, like, I'm not here to make jokes about Rocky. I'm here to tell anybody that is listening to go watch it again right now. And, like,
It's a great movie.
it is a great fucking movie. And for all the goofball action, stupid stuff that Stallone may have done in the meantime, he forever will have my respect for this movie. And not
Absolutely.
just because of the writing. I'll tell you one of the times you want to see. For one thing, that guy is throwing all those punches, even if they're not actually hitting anybody for real. And, like, when he's hitting that bag, holy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
he's hitting the bag.
Sylvester fucking Stallone, like,
Absolutely.
okay, yeah, he might not really be beating up Carl Weathers, but would you want to fight him? I don't fucking think so.
No.
And
From what I've heard, he didn't go like slight on it, and even in Rocky Balboa, because he actually
it's
kid
legit.
who plays Mason
Sly
Dixon.
Stallone.
Well, no, the kid who plays Mason Dixon was actually at the time
He was a boxer.
Yeah, I think he was the current middleweight champion or heavyweight champion. I'm not sure, but he was a reigning
boxer,
champion at the time. And there's a quote from him that said Stallone wasn't pulling his punches, and that he was getting pissed off, and he was going to beat the shit out of Stallone if he kept it up.
Stallone is absolutely legit in this movie, and the moment that impressed me the most, I mean, for one thing, he's goddamn gigantic, and, like, what a fucking stud. But
I was going to say he's actually not that big in this movie.
He's bigger
Well,
in
so
Balboa,
he was
that's
wearing
for sure.
heels. Anytime he was out of the ring, he was wearing some, like, 2-inch heels.
Stallone's not a tall guy, but
No.
But he also
considering
wasn't that like,
He was...
bulky.
No,
Not even in
he's
this-
not as yoked in this movie as he was in Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Right.
But
no, but he still is pretty
Still.
big. He's
Yeah.
pretty fit.
Bigger than us.
And
for sure.
and holy shit, though, Carl Weathers was fucking shredded in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's Carl. That's how Carl Weathers is in the movie business, because he's shredded and he can deliver lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Carl Weathers
With
does a really good job.
actually, Carl Weathers, let's not undersell Carl Weathers here.
No, he's
Carl
good in this
Weathers
movie.
actually kicks out a pretty amazing performance in this
I
film.
totally agree. And I think that, you know, in his now quite long career, like later on, he sort of became a joke, and he kind of did Happy Gilmore, and then the whole shtick in Arrested Development where he's always talking about trying to get free food and stuff. That's all. That's
You
all
got
good
us too
fun.
Got us to go.
That's all good fun, you know, and I'm glad that he can engage in that kind of humor, but give him his due. He's fucking great in these movies. Yeah, he
This
really.
and Predator, he's really good.
Yeah, he is good in Predator.
Dylan, you son of a
So
bitch.
this is the moment where I had like this, my whoa moment for Stallone in terms of what he does physically in this movie is late in the training montage. He's jogging and he busts out into a run.
Yeah, he speeds up. Yeah.
When he speeds up, he is effing flying, and he's taking these gigantic strides, and he's flying, and you know they're driving alongside him with a truck shooting this shot, and he's like, they got to speed up to keep up with him, and it's just like that moment. It's like, Jesus, Stallone is like out of control in this movie. So yeah, he might not be quite as shredded as Weathers, and he might be bigger in Rocky IV, like more bulging, defined musculature. But my God, he really did the work in Rocky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like Rocky is one of the greatest pieces of American cinema, and it should not be undersold just because it's not about the same topic matter as like your Citizen Kane or a movie like that.
Right.
This is a truly great film. I don't know how else to say it. It possesses greatness. And if you've ever had a time in your life, I think James will relate to me on this because of our discussion regarding Clerks 2. If you've ever in your life been told that you're a loser and been sincerely afraid that person was correct, then you need to rewatch this movie and see that sometimes the only difference between a loser and the champion is just one little opportunity.
Sometimes it's wanting it bad enough.
Yeah, but you also got to get an opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
But,
well, we make our own opportunities sometimes.
This movie is very clear about that.
Rocky got his opportunity, and then Mick came and he didn't want anybody to be his manager. He was just going to go do it, take his lumps, but he got it in his head that he wanted it bad enough.
And the thing is, like, Mick goes right in there with Adrian, and Rocky is like, he's kind of a loser. Like, you know, he threw his chance away because he didn't do what he was supposed to do with the potential. Rocky has the potential, and Mick sees it in him, and he's going to make sure, come hell or high water, that he runs with this opportunity with all the resources that he needs, which is why he basically demands that he trains him. Which is why I think that, like, if Rocky hadn't gone out from and like found him in the streets and been like, yeah, okay, you know, I'm sorry, I'm so Italian, you know, like then I think Mick probably would have been done. So yeah, I think that about covers it for me. Rocky is just a fantastic movie. If you probably have memories of this franchise, what I'm going to recommend to you is try as much as you can to forget everything that you know about Rocky, because Rocky as a franchise also includes Hulk Hogan and Clubber Lang, and, you know, and if he dies, he dies. You know, he's a piece of iron, and like, you know, all that goofball stuff that, you know, all the stuff people quote, because very few people actually quote
all the
goofball
original stuff is not in Rocky.
No, it's difficult. Do yourself a favor and treat it like an island. Try your damnedest to watch this as a single entity, and don't think about any of the other stuff. All that goofball spin-off stuff only came to be because this movie captured people's spirit so successfully. And the reason it did that is because it is a truly great piece of American cinema.
So Chris had
Okay.
I'm good.
So this is I don't care. This is what you guys got on me about this earlier. I said 1, 2, and 6.
Okay.
1, because it is a fantastic film and it stays to the journey of Rocky.
Right.
2, because you have the journey of Apollo just as much as Rocky.
I can see that.
Skipping 3, 4, and let's pretend 5 doesn't exist because, frankly, 5 should never have fucking existed.
No. Right, 5 was a disgrace.
3 and 4 become these like, hey, we're in the 80s. We're going to throw in this zany robots and, hey.
3 and 4 are goofball movies.
You know, and then obviously 5, you know, it has small things that are okay about it, but overall 5 is a pile of shit.
It's a disgrace.
And then 6 is a very serious movie, and it brings it all back around.
Yep.
It wasn't ever about winning. It was about going the distance.
Yeah.
There's a great line. That's that great line. That's that horrible joke. A friend of mine, I'm like, I was watching one of the Rocky movies. He's like, oh, which one is this? I'm like, Rocky 3. Oh, is this the one where he goes the distance? I'm like, fuck you. Point is, it's once again never about winning. And they bring it around in Rocky Balboa. He doesn't actually win. He gets a technical loss because he gets less points.
Yeah, you know,
that's what happens in
split decision 2-1. Rocky loses.
They made a separate ending where he won for Rocky 6.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been as good.
I agree.
No,
it's better that he lost because it wasn't about winning. It was about
proving you're worth
proving
something.
you're exactly.
Proving you're not just another bum from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that you don't lose
I thought
your
this was my review.
No.
Sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Is that about proving you're not just another bum from the neighborhood?
Trying to get there.
Well, see, Chris, next time you just got to go the distance.
Oh, no,
Chris, you gotta want it bad enough.
Oh no!
But here, I'm going to give you your opportunity, so why don't you go ahead and finish?
I hate
You
you
know-
guys.
manage your review because no one managed mine, and it was chaos with y'all chiming in. So if you need a manager,
Yep.
No, I wasn't good enough for it earlier. No, and once again, you have a really great character in Rocky.
Yeah.
Because he's relatable. All he wants in life is respect and happiness.
He's charismatic and charming, just
Yes,
like
he
Johnny
is.
wants.
full of heart and
Yeah.
charm.
Even when he's doing his leg busting job, he doesn't
Want to break thumbs.
right. He doesn't want to break thumbs. That's not who he is. He's not a thug. He knows he's like, well, I'm kind of slow and dumb, and that's what he is in his head. He's that, which is where it gets really weird in Rocky 3 because he's exceeding like that makes him out to be like, oh, I got an education and I talk really good now, guys. And it's like ridiculously bad in that regard that it's like, okay, suddenly they make Rocky Apollo. That fast, jive-talking, spit it out at you kind of guy, and that was never the character. The character was always this. He didn't say a lot, but what he did say, wrong volumes because it was that much more poignant.
Honest. He was honest.
Exactly. And he's not an idiot. He's not a dumb guy. He knows what's going around, but
He's smart
people
enough
don't
to know. Yeah.
Yeah, but people don't really see that in him. People don't see him as that smart guy. So it wasn't really hard for him to when everyone's telling you suck, it's not hard for you to convince yourself or let yourself be convinced you suck. Because if it's the common thing, but the reality there is it's not always the case that you suck. Turns out people fucking suck. And that's what the case was with Rocky. Everyone was saying he's bum, but the truth was he was a good guy. He was a caring guy. He had a lot of talent. It took a little bit to get him there, but you know what? Everyone else was a piece of shit.
If you asked him during that ice skating spot with Adrian, he would just say it's because he's left-handed, like me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the world's shit on you because you're left-handed.
Correct. Look, this world has been designed by right-handed people, and everything is
because we're
backwards.
winners.
Yeah,
Eric, we're
wasn't
winners.
Hitler left-handed?
Yeah, so was Da Vinci, Mozart.
Oh, I'm sorry. All I heard was Hitler.
All I heard was
Get in
Hitler
there.
and vegetarian, and this is
I read
bullshit.
Judas was lefty. Isn't that? I think
Yeah, I
I
bet he
think I
was.
read that somewhere.
I bet.
I think I read he
brain
also
is wrong.
Judas and Brutus and
turned his back on fucking
And
Jesus.
Bluto.
yeah.
Bluto.
Anyway,
was left-handed.
that doesn't matter. Long story short, Rocky, yay. But no, seriously, what I would suggest for anyone who has not seen the series and wants to keep the mojo of like Rocky rolling, watch 1, 2, and Rocky Balboa.
Yep.
If you really are into him and you really, really like the character, sit
Watch
through
3 and
3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to know how much of 3 and 4 were the 80s affecting it, or how much of it was just Stallone was kind of.
Probably.
I mean, that was the time when Stallone in interviews was kind of getting a little sick of everybody assuming that he was dumb because his
And that might have
famous
been it. Maybe
character was.
he rewrote the character because he was getting too much shit on him.
We have a baseline established with the first Rocky.
Yep.
And the writing.
Right.
That Sylvester Stallone is not dumb.
Oh yeah, but look at people who were afraid of the United States because they thought Reagan as our president. They saw his movies, foreign countries saw his movies and thought we were badass because they thought Reagan was like the characters he played.
Well, that's dumb.
Isn't it?
Yes.
The majority of people are dumb.
But that was
So
also
naturally-
the 70s, so
I'm just saying.
We're
Long
much
story
smarter
short,
now.
someone go.
Look at the. I remembered one thing that I missed, and it's just another.
Well-
It's just another. Well, that was fucking awesome moment from this movie. it's in when he's fighting Apollo Creed, and the first time that he actually like nails him and just rings his bell.
Oh, God.
He
Yeah.
knocks him down for a 7 count the first time he hits
Right.
him.
Right,
That's
the
a
first
fucking-
person to do it, and
He
you
just
can.
The character's like, this is
Face.
what the
bullshit.
bullshit?
He's not playing out there.
All right, James.
Okay, that's
Yeah, you think it's a show. He thinks
Thinks
it's
it's
a
a fight.
fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a line
great
I was trying
line.
to think the whole
Yeah.
time.
You think
That
it's
was-
a show, he thinks it's
right.
a fight.
That was
Yeah.
a great
Because
line.
Rocky Balboa, at that point, is fighting for his life.
Yep.
He is. And Apollo Creed is just putting on a show.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So
It's
good.
awesome.
So good. James, you want to bring us home here? Because,
Sure. First off, I want to say I don't know what any of you guys talking about.
yeah!
None of you guys mentioned anything about Nicolas Cage or Sean Connery. It was pretty awesome when he shoved his heart with like that giant needle.
I take pleasure in gutting you, boy.
I'm kind of shocked, James. I thought you would have gone with Rocky and
That's
Bullwinkle.
what I was expecting. Twist.
So just a complete side note, while I was watching this movie and
Were
Pauly
you
was in...
doing dishes.
No, I wasn't doing dishes. I was actually just sort of chilling out on the couch, actually watching the movie. It was kind of... I was doing nothing
Uncanny.
extra, which is unique. For me.
Did you like
That
phone
is
die?
unique.
Guys,
Is your-
I'm sure.
Yes, but it was completely coincidental.
I'm sure if we listen to James, all our questions will be answered.
Hey, shut up, Colin.
That's not something that happens on this podcast.
Oh,
Whoa!
I agree. We don't listen to
season
James.
2
You're a
and
bum.
tensions rise.
You already had your shot
Yeah.
10 months ago. It was called The Unbearable Podcast.
I was waiting.
Whoa! No hits below the belt. Those are the rules.
Well, anyway, no, that there's like a couple of scenes where probably the scene where Pauly's in the meat freezer and he whips out the tiny flask and he drinks out of it, and it's very cold in Michigan right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just sort of sitting in my house, and I always turn the heat down at night because, I crawl into bed.
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting in the living room, and I've been fucking freezing all day, just, fucking cold. And I think about myself, I'm like, man, you know how good it is when it's fucking cold outside, and you got like a fifth of liquor, and you're just fucking sipping
You
it,
just
and you're
take
drunk.
a couple shots, yeah.
And it's all like quiet out there. And it's
Yeah.
fucking serene, and the
Yeah.
snow's out. I'm like, man, that feels so fucking good when that happens. I'm like, well, fuck, I got a whole cabinet full of liquor. And then I'm like, what do I want to drink? And I grab the Seagram's gin, and I just start sipping it. And I'm like, you know what? I fucking love gin.
Yeah, gin's a good drink. Gin's good. I like
And
gin.
that's what I pulled from yesterday is I fucking love gin. Rocky made me realize I love gin.
Well, talk to me about Rocky, though. Fuck.
So, James, that's your takeaway from Rocky? One of the greatest cinematic masterpieces of all time. And
John
you bring
really
I
wants
Like
some
Gin?
takes from you.
It really is top 100.
So my breath was fresh for this review. Let's see.
James has nothing.
Breaking
I
my
can
heart
tell you
here,
got
man.
absolutely
You're
nothing.
breaking my heart.
Yeah, I've never seen any of the other Rockies. I watched it for the first time in my life yesterday. It's a fun movie. Everybody's miserable. A lot of the things that I thought about while watching it, people have already said. Pauly hates holidays. Just all holidays.
He threw the turkey out the window.
Christmas was when he threw his pitch fit.
Pauly's a miserable drunk who's alone. Pauly has nothing.
Pauly's an actual
No, I mean,
sack
I
of
realize-
shit.
Well,
He's a
he
one-man
is a sack. He
dysfunctional
acts
family.
like a complete sack. Yes, that's actually a great way to describe him. But you have to also realize that he's a miserable fucking human being.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yes.
mean that just that he's like a miserable human being. He should be spit upon. Like he is miserable.
Well, he brought a-
and he still is a human being, but he also is a piece of shit.
He
So
brought
he's-
a pretty good-looking hooker to the Rocky fight, though.
yeah. Well, money talks.
I mean, okay, here's the thing.
I totally missed that.
Watching
Yeah, he did.
watching
Yeah, it
this
was funny.
movie.
It's like him, and then this woman that's way out of his league.
Yeah. Rocky, they mentioned Rocky's windfall on the fucking news.
Yes.
One, that's not fucking cool for a dude in Philly who's like, fucking bottom of the barrel,
Yeah.
living in a piece of shit apartment.
Everybody in the neighborhood's gonna be like, "Hey, can you hit me with a $5?"
I'm amazed that didn't happen in this movie. I thought that was part of what was going to happen. And I mean, it did kind of happen with Pauly and Mickey.
Yeah.
But thank God they were good people. I mean, people like a lot of people are like, "Oh, Mickey's a piece of shit in this movie."
No,
but he's not that bad.
No, Mickey's all right. He's all right.
Because
but that's it. He's just all right.
Yeah, you completely covered it. Is that he throws the fucking turkey out. He won't stop. Like
you mean Pauly?
Yeah, Pauly. Yeah.
Not Mickey. Yeah.
Yeah, Pauly. He throws the turkey out. He won't stop chiding and berating Adrian or Audrey. Allison.
He is being a complete fucking jerk about the whole thing, but technically he's doing it
for her benefit.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to do it nicely. He only knows how to beat her down. Yeah. He's one of those people who only knows how to break you down, not to build you back up.
He doesn't know how to. He doesn't.
But he knows it needs to happen. But he can only do it in his way. So he just is more damaging and more damaging. But the end result. So he thinks he's okay because the end result is what he wanted and what he knew was best for her.
Yeah.
Granted, once that all happens, he's unhappy because she's happy, and neither of them need him.
He just doesn't have the tools to do it constructively.
Right. He's one of those people that convinces that everybody hates him. Like, he's just convinced of that. Like, even if he's got, like, a great friend like Rocky and shit, he's just utterly convinced of that. And instead of, like, just, like, bottling it up and, like, living with it, when he throws his fit on Christmas, and it's just like, Pauly, what the fuck is with this guy?
Well, he's
and then
drunk
he breaks.
Too.
He breaks and he's like, "You're supposed to be good to me." Like, that's when I realized, wow, this guy is severely broken.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is good to him.
Yeah, she is. Like, Pauly doesn't realize what he has.
Yeah.
And he's got everything that he wants, but he just doesn't feel like he does.
Right.
And
you say all this
really
like you've never walked into your own home and broken out into a tantrum or crying and things haven't worked. I've been there. I'm just saying, I understand his jackassedness, not so much, but I understand that moment in Pauly's life, where he's so drunk he finally can say what's bothering him.
People listening to this episode are going to pick up a lot of insight about us.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've never had the angry explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I could never see you doing that. Ever.
I'm one of those sad sacks that if ever I were to actually reach that point, I'd have the crying explosion.
Actually, James, I kind of see you a lot like Rocky. You're the kind of guy who, if you are having that point where it's just everybody's down on you, you just kind of internalize it and just sort of mope around like Rocky does.
Yeah. He does do a lot of moping in this movie.
The cap on that scene with Pauly's freakout is another piece of really good Stallone writing, though, because you show the perfect counterpoint. Rocky has the tools physically to destroy.
Oh yeah. He could put Rocky in, or he could put Pauly in the ground.
Yeah, yes, and Pauly has just lost his shit and gotten physical and been totally out of control. And even after attacking Adrian, Rocky still has his shit together enough.
Oh yeah,
to stay in control.
Once again, he's not a meathead. He reacts.
You really see the difference between Pauly and Rocky at the end of that scene.
Yeah.
Rocky, but also he was drunk.
And then
I'm not excusing his behavior. I'm just saying, like, it explains a lot of how he managed to go so far.
You know what? Pauly's a miserable cur. I don't even think he needed the alcohol to get to it.
No. I think he needed the alcohol to actually act out.
All the difference is there, though, because Rocky's got it pretty rough, man. I think Rocky would like to have Pauly's job at the meat factory.
Oh yeah.
But you know what Rocky doesn't have? He doesn't have a drinking problem because he keeps his shit on lock. Like, Rocky is downtrodden, but he does have his shit together. He's got his own place. He makes his own food.
He's got his own turtles.
He cares for his pets. He takes
getting a dog.
He's got a goldfish named Moby Dick.
And you know what? He gets his dog Butkus. What's the first thing he does with the dog? He takes the dog for a freaking walk. Like,
Yes.
Rocky has got his act together from
Yep.
top to bottom. He just doesn't have any luck. He doesn't have any resources. Pauly has a lot of things going for him. He's got a loving family that lives with him and takes care of him. He has work. He has friends. He look at his house. His house is full of nice furniture. And
that shit that he shredded with the baseball bat, that was sterling silver dineware.
Yeah, this guy's got like he has like
but a lot of that might be like
whatever,
family.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That's what I was gonna say.
Pauly's life's not perfect. He's very unhappy.
Well, I think it just illustrates that you can be anyone in life and still be unhappy with where you're at.
Absolutely. And the whole time, Pauly's also looking for somebody else to bail him out of his problems. He really wants that job with the crime boss. Rocky, when he's got to fight the fucking world champion, he's like, no, I know how to train. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the reflection of the mirror that is Pauly and Rocky is
Rocky's been
profound.
shit on, and Pauly's convinced he's just always been shit on.
Right.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah, that's true.
And
the next scene is like, Pauly and Rocky outside of the meat factory when Rocky's going to get interviewed, and Pauly's just kind of playing with him, and it's like, you see the genuine nice side of Pauly.
It's
like,
in there.
The really playful, like if Pauly wasn't so torn up inside, that's the kind of guy that you would have. And it's like, okay, now you understand that Rocky's like why Rocky's friends with this guy and everything like that. Not only that, but the mere fact that Rocky's gonna get so much fucking money and everybody thinks he's a little stupid, and Pauly doesn't play him at all.
Nope.
He finds a nice niche for himself.
Right. Comes to it and says, hey, can I make some money?
Can I do this for you, for myself off of you? And he's like, well, you're my friend, so sure.
Well,
he doesn't go beyond his back. It doesn't screw him. He is. Yeah.
Yeah, he comes
Straight
from,
up about
even
it.
though they just had a knockdown, drag out argument, yelling and violence and everything. The next day he comes to him, and I think that's as close to Pauly can get to apologizing. Is he shows his face in that gym where he is
closest thing to apologizing. Hey, can I make some money off you?
But you know what he's saying to him?
That is how I'm going to apologize to anybody.
Saying, I want to keep this relationship going.
He's saying, hey, I want to be involved in what you're doing. Yeah. And I mean, yes, Pauly does not really. He doesn't ascend to like being a good dude, but you can even see that the influence of Rocky's growth on Pauly by the end.
Yeah,
even if it's just a little. Like, just a glimmer in the deep, dark pit that's Pauly.
And that's one of the things that I absolutely appreciate about this movie is just, somebody could listen to us and say that we're reading into a lot of this, but in
not
reality,
if you watch the movie.
Not if you watch exactly.
There's a lot going on in the movie.
There's a shit ton that's going on in this movie. And the thing is that the best part about this movie is that these are real people doing real people things and behaving in real people fashions. Mm-hmm. There is not a single choice that a single character makes in this movie that I don't understand how they got there. You know what I mean?
No.
Oh, you disagree, James?
Yeah.
All right.
This is one of the other points. Okay, it's fucking Thanksgiving and he wants a date. I get that. I understand that. She's like, oh, let's go ice skating.
Thursday to me.
Yeah, let's go ice skating. Okay, yeah, we'll do ice skating tomorrow. It's fucking Thanksgiving. What Thanksgiving? He goes in there, the guy's closing down, and he's like, well, and I'm still gonna try to work my mojo. I can kind of understand that. $10 for 10 minutes. We're gonna go ice skating for 10 minutes? That's the fucking saddest date I think I've ever seen on film, period.
Correct.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
It worked.
Correct.
So you can't say shit.
But I mean, that's kind of the point. Like,
yeah,
he doesn't have
that
shit
was
to give her.
impressive in 1976.
He doesn't got shit. He doesn't have anything to give her.
Right. Yeah, it's Christmas shoes, James.
To me, when I was watching this movie, it kind of reminds me of like the Caesar story of how way back in ancient Rome. No, okay. But when Caesar looked at Caesar was like 40 something, he was like a little senator, and he looked at the statue of Alexander.
Yes.
Who conquered the world before he was 30.
Yes.
He broke down and like cried.
Yes.
Because he was like 43 or something like that, and had only just managed to obtain public office. Yep. Yeah, and I love stories like that. Batman Returns. A lot like that as well. But
that
like
old
the whole
chestnut.
the scene that really drove that home was not Pauly, but Mickey, when he's outside the bathroom door. And he's giving Rocky his pitch, and Rocky's just not buying it. And then he's like, another point of real humanity when he's like, Jesus, Rocky, I'm 96 years old, 86 or something like that, 76. Right? 76 years old. Yeah, he's just like, and like he's almost like crying, and it's like Rocky's in the same boat as you. He's 30, which is too old for a boxer,
right?
And and you're 70 something. And that's too old for a manager. But yet, let's see if you guys can do it. Colin, you reminded when you're talking about the furniture in Pauly's house, you reminded me of my favorite line of the movie while I was watching it was Rocky's sitting on the couch and Adrian's in his apartment. He's like, "A nice couch. I don't know."
Speaking of which, I remember one of my thoughts. This would have been on my notes if I had taken any, but. When one of the later scenes where they're in Pauly's house, I noticed, it's like, man, that's a nice couch. Where the hell are they?
But yeah, the final fight was fucking great. I got really excited, to see him. I knew Rocky lost this fight, but I didn't know how the movie played out. Because, that's what you always hear is, oh, Rocky, he lost in the first movie. And I was like, okay, yeah, all right. I'll expect that, but I didn't know what the fuck Go in the Distance meant. And I've watched a lot of fights, and I've never seen a fight go 15 rounds. But anyway, the last thing that I will say about this movie is that every time that Rocky's on TV, he is so completely just not there.
He's not charismatic at all.
No, he's completely just church mouse.
Yeah.
And not completely not even there, and it's just I was so frustrated. I'm just like, Rocky, you're fucking doing it wrong. Come on, man, you gotta fucking sell it.
He clams up on TV. He does.
Obviously, I'm not going to say too much here that hasn't already been said. We all kind of feel fairly similar about this.
Good
film.
review, John.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the one thing that I would mention is that in relation to that whole ice rink scene, that really warms my heart because to me,
I was having cringes. Well, sympathetic, awkward cringes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is that the thing about Rocky and Adrian is that at this point in their life, I don't think any of them have had any kind of relationship. You know what I mean? So in a weird sort of way, they're
well, I don't know because Pauly is doing his thing where he's shouting out, "She's broken.
She's busted.
She's busted."
It was fucked up.
It was fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was talking about Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky busting her.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing is that, I think, the way that interaction happens and the way that starts, it's very reminiscent of middle school to me. And I think it's kind of perfect to capture how different parts of our lives are aged differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
And so, how somebody can be, maybe emotionally mature or intellectually mature. And I think there's also, a relationship maturity as well, a component to that. And I don't see that captured in film all that often. So when I see it captured in films, it never seems disingenuous to me. Especially if I have enough faith in the director or the writer to believe that it's a choice. And I think in this particular situation, I think it was a choice, and I don't think it was disingenuous. I think, quite honestly, he may not have phrased it like that. He may not have said that Rocky is a 13-year-old boy when it comes to dating, but I think he had that sense that both Adrian and Rocky, when they're first starting out, it's they're young, a lot younger than they actually are. So that's how I feel about the relationship. Obviously, I love this movie. I've watched it about 1 billion times. I watch...
How many does about 1 billion really mean?
I watch Rocky and Rocky Balboa once a year, at least.
Whoa, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. So does that mean 25 times, Johnny?
Yep, 25 times.
Well, okay, because we got to cut out the times when, I was around when there really wasn't VHS, so we can't include that. All right.
I was trying to say you're 25 years old, Johnny.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying I was old
he's
and
taken.
busted. You were saying I was old.
So like 97 times?
Yeah, pretty much 97 times. No, but I've watched this movie quite a lot. I love it. It is something that I try and revisit often. You know, it just kind of is one of those things. This is a movie that makes me feel good. And there aren't too many movies out there. Like, there'll be movies that I watch that make me feel, that make me feel happy or make me feel sad or make me feel angry. But there aren't too many movies out there that make me feel good about being me and being who I am. And this movie does that every time.
Because at least you're not Pauly.
Well, no, because it makes me feel, I don't know, it just makes me feel like,
No, this...
There's always...
I hear you 100%, Johnny. This is a great... This movie is good for the soul.
I think it is.
It really is.
It's very good.
It's like chicken soup.
I think it is chicken soup. I do think it's a disservice that we don't have a female cast member, because I would really love to know if this movie does something differently based on your gender. You know that.
me and Chris are over here.
Well, I
having
know
our
that's a
immature
weird.
chuckles.
I know that's a weird thing to say, but I mean, like, really honestly,
That's a terrible way to phrase it, but yeah. I get what you mean.
Why do you think it's okay? All right. Anyway,
She's gonna dry up.
No, but I mean, like, that's the thing is that I've heard plenty of guys talk about Rocky this way. I've heard plenty of guys talk about Rocky this way. I have never heard women talk about Rocky this way.
Oh, I have.
Next up, Rudy.
I have. I was introduced.
Colin, talk to me.
I was introduced to Rocky by a woman. Actually, my first viewing was back in the GameStop days. I worked with a lovely young lady by the name of Jen. What up, Jen?
So not
what up, girl?
Your mother.
Not my mother. No, not me, mum. And we just happened to have like all the movies on DVD in the store. And so it was her great idea, and I, as her manager, approved it, that instead of showing the GameStop TV DVD on loop all day, we was just going to watch Rocky movies all day.
Yeah.
So we like marathoned all the Rocky movies, and she was like, except 5. And I was like, no, man, I want to watch them all. She was like, except 5. And I was like, no, man, like, I want to see it. She's like, it's just going to make you mad. This girl, and I would like to think that maybe she'll listen to this podcast, because I think she'd actually love it. But, like, this girl was probably the biggest Rocky fan I've ever met, such that when Balboa came out, she, like, went to see it in a boxer's robe and had gloves and shit. She fucking dressed up for a Rocky movie. And
I was there on opening night, but I wasn't dressed up.
Oh, man. No, she was cool, dude.
All right. So I believe it is game time.
Game time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the game, and I am running it. Today, we are going to be playing the first annual John Hates Movies Dad Joke-a-thon.
Oh boy.
No.
Yep. In reference to Rocky's penchant for telling horribly awful bad dad jokes, we're going to do 5 rounds of dad jokes, and it's going to be elimination. So the worst dad joke gets
Define worst.
Out.
Define worst.
The worst as in...
Wait, the worst gets kicked out?
No, not like as in... Okay.
It's arbitrary.
It's arbitrary.
This is completely
it's
arbitrary.
based on my taste.
Okay, John
if I think the dad joke's a total stinker, then you're out. You're out, you bum.
So we each have to come up with 5 dad jokes? This is
not if you... What, you're assuming you're going to make it all the way to the end there, Mr. McMillan?
I may have a couple in my pocket.
Okay.
Oh, shit. I don't have any dad jokes in my pocket.
All right, so round 1. Ding, ding. Who wants to start us off?
Me.
Okay.
Since I have one in my pocket. It's a joke of my own invention. I invented this one a couple months ago. When pigs go sailing, how do they keep their boat from blowing away?
How?
They drop oinker.
Come on. That's terrible. That's terrible.
That is. Okay, so who's next?
I understand what a dad joke is supposed to be, right? Like,
you get it.
Oh, no.
Who's next?
So, oh god, this one's bad. So, I invented this one myself, too. So, you've heard that Andre Agassi's wife has come out with a new line of tennis-themed jewelry. Yes, but immediately after she was arrested for racketeering. Racketeering.
Jesus. Okay. You got some gems here, folks.
Let's pretend this is going really well.
Oh shit. I need some time. I don't have any dad jokes in the
So I
repository.
heard one the other day. So my dad and I went out shopping for Christmas trees the other day, and the guy said, would you like to put it up yourself? And my dad says, no, you sick fuck. I want to put it up in the house.
I've heard that one before.
Wow.
Oh shit.
That one's bordering almost on a joke, though.
Well, that's what I do, jokes.
Eric?
I really don't do this kind of like knock joke shit.
It's not a knock-knock joke. It's a dad joke, motherfucker.
Look, I'm out, so I'm just gonna say something stupid.
Eric concedes round one.
Yeah, I really do, because I don't know this. I don't deposit jokes.
You
in
don't
my
punish
brain.
yourself like that?
No.
Think about it.
I got it.
So, John,
Think about it.
hey Johnny,
Yeah.
why was 6 afraid of 7?
Why?
That old chestnut.
Because 7 ain't 9. Oh, now kick me out.
Eric, you're out. Okay, I was wrong on my count. Obviously, there is 5 of us, but not all of us are telling jokes. So, round 2.
Shit. I don't know any of this.
That's okay.
This dad joke shit.
That's all right, Eric, because you're out anyway, so what does it matter? All right, round 2. Ding, ding. Let's start with Chris this time, since he went last.
Oh, 2 in a row?
See, look, this is the first game ever where I felt completely inadequate.
This usually doesn't happen to me, ladies.
One day.
Go home and read a bunch of joke books and
Next time, I'll prepare.
Getting funny now.
All right, Chris. John wants a joke.
Actually getting dad now, I guess.
One day my face was really red. My mom was worried that I had a rash because it was starting to itch and burn. And my dad didn't want to go to the emergency room. He said, hey, let's not make any rash decisions.
God damn.
Oh, ouch. All right.
Oh,
James,
shit.
can you stay in?
All right. So I was doing my rounds at the insane asylum. And I walk up to the one room, and the guy, he's got his hands out in front of him, and he swings, and he's like, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm practicing because when I get out of here, I'm going to be a professional golfer. And I was like, oh, well, that's great. Go to bed. Lights out. So I walk down to the next little area there, and there's another guy, and he's got his hands out in front of him, and he swings them over his shoulder, and he's go. Bloop. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm practicing because when I get out of here, I'm going to be a world-class fisherman. I'm going to be an angler. And I'm like, well, that's amazing. Just fucking go to bed. So I walk to the next little room, and I look in the little window there, and there's a guy with a jar of peanut butter with peanut butter smeared all over his dick just going to town. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes, I'm fucking nuts, and I'm never going to leave.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
That one went over well, James.
Not much of a dad joke, though.
Yeah, that's like Chris's first submission. That's bordering dangerously close on being a joke, but I'll allow it. Colin?
Did I tell you guys my shepherd joke?
I don't think so.
Okay, this is another one that I made up. So, this guy walks into a bar and he sees a fella drinking at the bar, and guy looks really ticked off. He's all mad. The guy sits down to him. He says, "What's the matter?" He goes, "You know what's the matter? I hate my job." "What's your job?" He says, "Well, I'm a shepherd on this big sheep farm with all these other shepherds. Tons of sheep, but the farm's on the side of a hill. So the sheep always roll down the hill by accident. They lose their balance, they fall, they roll down the hill. They go all the way to the bottom. We got to go and get them. So usually the younger shepherds, they can herd most of the male sheep back up. They're pretty obedient. But we've got bunch of the lady sheep, the females, they misbehave, they act out. And when they roll down to the bottom of the hill, they won't come back up. So I got to go down there, and I got to pick up each of these lady sheep, carry it all the way back up the hill. And I got to go back down and pick up another one and bring it up the hill. The guy says, yeah, sounds pretty rough. And he goes, hell yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Wow. Wow.
That's a long walk to that
Wow.
Wow. I created that joke. Thank you very much.
Jesus Christ.
I thought the punchline was going to be something about sheep rolls downhill.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good, actually.
Twist, alternate ending.
All right, so John, you got to kick somebody out to join me in the,
Hall of Shame?
Not funny Hall of Shame.
Chris, what was your joke again?
Rash decision.
It was
The rash decision.
rash decision, which is as dad a joke as you can dad a joke.
You know what, Colin? It's you. And the reason it's you is because Chris came up with a better punchline.
Have I ever told you that you're wrong all the time?
Yes, you have.
All right, so Chris and James dad jokes.
We're going the distance.
I had more. Guess you don't get to hear them.
And I guess, actually, like Apollo Creed, this is going to be 3 rounds, because obviously the winner doesn't have to bring it home with the joke. So I'm learning how to math. Round 3, ding,
No
ding.
collusion over there. Come on.
Wait, you know what?
Okay.
Talk to me about yours.
Let's do a heads and tails thing.
Okay.
I don't need any help.
Heads
I don't need any training. I know how to train.
All right, so
You
Chris,
going to call it?
Who's calling it?
Go ahead, James.
All right, tails.
Wrong, it was heads. Chris, you want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
All right, James, you're up.
Maybe I should flip my own coin to see what joke I want to do. Okay, I'll do the Guinness Book of World Records one.
You better be daddy, because you got to bring it home.
No, this one. Okay, this one would make me lose. I'll tell it afterwards. All right. So there's this vet, World War II vet, and he's really old. His wife died like a couple years ago, and he's feeling the urges, you know. But he's always had his wife, so he doesn't know where to go, and he doesn't necessarily even know like how to even start with that sort of thing. So. He thinks about when he was younger, before he went into the service and all that, and he remembers an old whorehouse in the neighborhood. So he goes out, and he goes to where the old whorehouse is, and this is like the first time he's been out of his house in years. And he goes to where it is, and he doesn't know, but the whole neighborhood's changed, and it's now a podiatrist's office. And so he's in the waiting room, and a nurse comes up to him, in a nurse uniform, and he goes, "Oh, this is pretty sexy. It's a little more formal than I remember, but it's pretty good."
right?
So she's like, "Okay, well, we'll take your information, and we'll go back." And she sets him up in the little room, and she's like, "Okay, you just lay on the, you just sit in this room and pull the curtains shut, and then stick it through the curtain." And then, and he's like, "Well, okay, this is new, but I guess this will work." And so he gets all ready there. And then a nurse comes walking by, and she screams, "Ah! That's not a foot!" And he goes, "I didn't know there was a limit."
Oh, dear.
Oh, boy. Oh,
It's
boy.
a podiatrist.
I get
But
it,
he has
Eric. I
more
get
than a
the
foot of dick.
Chris?
Okay, I'm not entirely sure I'll win with this one, but I always like this joke. I don't care. This is a children's joke.
Whoa.
This is a children's joke.
Okay.
What does a polar bear say?
What?
Fuck, it's cold.
Don't take the punchline from my joke,
did he
James.
steal the punchline?
Because I've told it to him before, the jackass. No.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
you
Sorry.
got double
I
As
have
soon as
told
it
you.
left my mouth, I realized what the fuck I did.
That's as bad as like this joke not that joke, but
Okay,
this other joke
the
ruined
game
like
is
years of my
ruined.
life because like I would go around like I'm like it's funny and people are like oh what I'm like jokes and laugh to myself and walk away, but I did it so often that I would be like what's funny to have something intelligible to say and people are like jokes and like and I would forget everything I was going to say. It damaged me conversationally for like years.
So, Chris, why don't you tell us another joke that can add on top of that joke that James just sniped?
I just did. I told a story about what's funny.
You know the ones about the Guinness Book of World Records.
Right? I'm not sure I do.
Is it short?
And to be fair, both of those are terrible, terrible dad jokes, although the one is not really appropriate for children. But when I'm a dad, I'm just saying.
You guys got to make this super hard for me, don't you?
Yep.
Just give it to Chris. Give it to Chris. Give it to Chris.
Give it to
Give it to Chris.
Now, see, am I going to get extra points because I sniped, or am I going to lose?
No, because you knew the joke. I've told you the joke. I told you the joke when we worked at fucking Meyer.
You should have been telling the joke.
That's how long ago that was.
Hey, there's a guy at my work. He had the whole left side of his body cut off, but he's all right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a terrible one. Well,
Come on, Chris.
Why is 6 afraid of 7?
Why?
Because 6, 7, 8.
What? All right, you know what,
6,
James, you got
7,
it.
8.
You win.
Hey, fuck you! Fuck you!
That joke was so bad.
No! Fuck this! He snipes my fucking joke. That was actual jokes, not dad jokes. I'm the only one who committed to the fucking subject. You all suck. You heard it from me first. You can all go to hell.
Yeah.
Dad jokes!
My first joke was the best dad joke I had.
Oh, man.
Actually,
I'm the only one that tells
I'll
bad
be honest with
jokes,
you,
to
Chris.
be
The only
fair.
reason James won is because between the two of you,
Dad jokes.
he hasn't had a movie review in like 8 years.
Has Chris? When's the last time Chris won?
Tombstone.
Tombstone. Oh, okay.
was it?
Yep. In the meantime, I think I'll tell my other joke about the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, talk to me.
There's 3 midgets sitting on a bench. One of them looks down and goes, "Oh man, I think I have the smallest hands in the world. I should probably go to the Guinness Book of World Records to see if I can get in the book." Next little person looks down, looks at it.
Oh yeah, now's the time to get politically correct. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yes, it is.
next dwarf looks down and looks at his feet. And
That's the third title you've used for a small man.
And looks down at his feet. He goes, "Man, I think I have the smallest feet in the world. I should go to the Guinness Book of World Records, see if I can get in the book." Third one looks down at his dick and he goes, "Man, I think I have the smallest dick in the world. I should go to the Guinness Book of World Records with them, see if I can also get in the book." And so, they're all waiting in the waiting room. First one comes out, smallest hands in the world. I'm in the book. Next one comes out, smallest feet in the world. I'm fucking in the book. Third one comes out, goes, "Who the fuck is John Barrett?"
You're right. That would not have won you this. That's right, James. So it is your movie choice. Tell us, what are we watching next time we convene?
We have done some good movies recently, and I'm not going to sniper you guys with something terrible.
Ooh, nice.
I actually want to see how you guys, what your guys' thoughts on this movie were. I am going to choose Headhunters.
I don't know that.
I don't
It
know.
is a
No
Dutch
fucking
film.
clue about any headhunters.
Yep.
You sure that's on this?
It is on Netflix, yes, and I believe it's a Dutch film.
That's right. Please join us next time when we watch some crappy foreign film.
And here's someone say...
Balls!
You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. You'll have an equal chance of getting chosen for next week's movie review. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say...
Ernest rides again, then
Ernest
goes to
one?
camp,
Yeah,
then probably Ernest Scared Stupid,